has criticised the Metropolitan Police for their handling of a recent arrest related to social media posts made by the Irish comedian Graham Linehan.
Now, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage is set to discuss issues relating to free speech in Washington later today.
Well, elsewhere, the government's borrowing costs have soared to their highest since 1998, with 30-year bond interest rates reaching 5.7%, increasing the expense of servicing Britain's debt.
Well, for the former Conservative advisor James Price joins us now. James, good morning to you. Let's start with Nigel Farage being in Washington, D.C. today, talking to US lawmakers about issues relating to free speech in the United Kingdom. It's 5 years ago, who would have thought it?
Yeah, quite. Imagine trying to explain most of British politics to somebody of 15 years ago. Yeah. Absolutely extraordinary. You know, the Taliban say they'll agree to deal with Prime Minister Farage. What a sentence that is, right?
Wow.
But you're right, and this is a really big deal in the United States. In the First Amendment, their Bill of Rights enshrines their right to freedom of expression. We know, we've talked before, about how important that is, frankly, just for good government. If you can't criticise things, if you can't course correct, then you get much worse outcomes. And the United States, the new administration there, still fairly new, is very, very hot on this. And the Secretary of State, their version of Foreign Secretary, Marco Rubio, has made this a real cornerstone of his foreign policy for America. And a lot of this as well, of course, is about the way that the European Union and the British government have tried to treat American big tech giants. You know, they're trying to stop their right to freedom of speech. And there are, I think, even sanctions being talked about for Ofcom members by the American government. That's how seriously the Americans take this sort of stuff. And when you see these stories coming out and you talk to just normal Americans, one of the few things they know about Britain these days is, oh, you get arrested for saying anything over there. And, you know, when we're coming up to the 250th birthday of America, where it's going to be a little testy for us Brits having to go and be the butt of every joke, we don't want this to be the only thing we're known for.
Well, Nigel Farage is going to raise this on Capitol Hill during this visit. It'll be interesting to see if JD Vance reacts to this case, as we've heard him raise concerns before about free speech in Britain. And Elon Musk has obviously been busy posting, talking about Britain being a police state.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of this does go back to Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter. And what started off, I think, as him making a joke about it on a Twitter profile of his. I think because an American satirical news site called the Babylon Bee was banned off old Twitter for making jokes, Elon Musk said, oh, hang on a minute, this is quite serious. Well, how much would it cost to buy Twitter? And as they say, the rest is history. And you know, that kind of free speech, ironically, actually, making likes, when you go on Twitter and you can like a post, you used to be able to see everybody who liked those. That's all now private. And you've seen that, alongside Elon Musk taking off all the kind of shackles, has let people actually, ironically, express themselves more freely. Would we have known about the grooming gangs to the extent we do? Would we have known about all these other things? Definitely not. Would we know without the free press, the papers you're holding in your hands right now? All this stuff is absolutely essential to the lifeblood of a democracy. And if we lose it, who knows what happens next?
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high-interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
To be fair to the Prime Minister and the Labour government, he has actually criticised the Metropolitan Police for their handling of the Graham Linehan supposed arrest.
Yes, he has, but the Home Secretary has a role to play in working with the police. And the Labour Party, in opposition for a long time, went foursquare with saying all these things are so terrible. And a lot of the kind of political elite still do think that you should be arrested for saying mean things. This moron who's just been elected as leader of the Green Party said yesterday that it's absolutely great that this person was arrested and they definitely should be and all the rest. So this is still a really big problem. And if the government really cares about this, then I think we should have a proper grown-up conversation about the operational independence of the Metropolitan Police. It's not being well run, it's not fit for purpose, and it's facing an awful lot of pressures. It's dealing with people saying mean things online rather than the epidemic of violent crime that we're seeing.
Yes, 800 unsolved cases daily of shoplifting.
It's absolutely extraordinary, isn't it?
He is implying, though, in his defence, isn't he, that the police, I mean, his exact quote is that they should be concentrating on issues that matter most to their communities. That's tackling antisocial behaviour, shoplifting, street crime, as well as reducing violent crime and violence against women, suggesting perhaps that instead of investigating free speech issues, they should be looking at crimes such as shoplifting.
Yeah, absolutely, they should be. But of course, we're in this government at the moment. I think shoplifting has all but been decriminalised. You only are allowed to really look into these sorts of crimes if a certain threshold of value of products has been stolen. I think we need to go back to a very, very zero tolerance policy on crime. I'll use over and over and over again the very extreme example of El Salvador, the little Central American country. It was the most dangerous place on earth. And then they elect someone, and what does he go and do? He just arrests all the criminals. He locks them all up, and suddenly it's the safest place in the Western Hemisphere. It's safer than America, it's safer than Canada. If we started doing that here, then maybe we'd live in such a wonderful, peaceful country that we could let the police go and start being mean to people who are being mean online. But that's how serious things have got to this country. I think we need to do that.
Can I talk to you about the headache that Rachel Reeves has as Chancellor? £40 billion gap in the public finances. There's suggestions that she's going to have to, well, put on a stealth tax, a mansion tax maybe as well. What's your take on it?
Well, this is all a Labour government knows how to do, isn't it? It only has one song to sing, and it's raise your taxes. It'll never be get growth going again because it doesn't understand business, and what it does understand about business, it doesn't like. It doesn't like people having freedom to make something more of their lives. It wants to keep everybody down. It can do that by raising your taxes, and it definitely won't cut spending, which is the other thing we've got. We have a real spending problem here. I actually think the two stories are almost connected in a way. I think if you look at some of the moves in these gilt markets, I think it could be American investors having a look at the United Kingdom saying, what? They're sending armed police to arrest people for tweets? That's not a serious country to invest in. I genuinely think that we're getting to that stage now. But is Rachel Reeves even the Chancellor anymore, really? I mean, she may well stand up at the dispatch box and do this last budget, but she's basically been defenestrated, hasn't she, with new advisors put around her and Starmer taking some of her people. The fear for me is that it won't just be taken away from Rachel Reeves, but all power and responsibility will end up being taken away from the government entirely, because we could find ourselves in a sovereign debt crisis. We could find the IMF coming in and imposing terms. Frankly, the markets will stop lending us money because they will see that we have no way of paying this stuff back as we fall further, I'm sorry to say, be this miserable in the morning, into a complete economic basket case in the years to come.
I mean, history doesn't look too kindly on all of this, does it? I mean, well, the same thing happened under Thatcher. Lawson lasted, what, a year?
Right.
Afterwards. But then we heard Sir Keir Starmer saying yesterday that actually this has only strengthened his relationship with Rachel Reeves.
Yeah, well, quite right. If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you, right? How is phase 2 going, Sir Keir? Just play the quick kind of thought experiment here. Imagine if Starmer came out today and fired Ed Miliband. Right? What would happen to these markets? And then if you went one further and you put somebody in as a successor, as the Energy Secretary, of someone who actually understands how markets work, and you say, right, well, let's get some North Sea oil and gas going again, let's invest in cool, new, next-generation nuclear, let's even get fracking going again, let's get those energy prices down, let's allow business to actually make stuff again. What would happen to all these numbers? It would obviously get much better. And so the positive I'm trying to say here, all of our problems, almost all of our problems, are self-inflicted. We have the right politicians and the right policies, we can turn things around. As Tennyson said, though much is taken, much abides.
OK, James Price, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Always good to see you. Now, the Metropolitan Police have released this statement saying on Monday, the 1st of September, at 1 p.m, officers arrested a man at Heathrow Airport after he arrived on an inbound American Airlines flight. The man in his 50s was arrested on suspicion of inciting violence. This is in relation to posts on X.
After being taken to police custody, officers became concerned for his health and he was taken to hospital. His condition is neither life-threatening nor life-changing. He has now been bailed pending further investigation.